I had absolutely no idea that this would come my way. But and then not only there, I mean, other countries said, okay, why can't we do the same? And
Wow.
even women in the US, they said, "Okay, what you have done is open the eyes of many male managers. So it's like, we have never been taught how to handle such a complaint when the CEO himself is involved. Now that you have succeeded, he says, for 6 months, I have not slept because I was testing you, but making you into better human beings. So I am so much in love with this cherry picker. My wife says that's your first love. So
Great, amazing afternoon, audience. It's such a humbling experience for me today to have the guest on this beautiful, amazing Sunday afternoon. It's 4:30 in India, and I know that for many people working in corporates, 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday means the weekend has already got over. But believe me, when you do something which you love doing, when you know your calling, when you are in the field which gives you a conviction that you are whatever you're doing is actually adding some shine. And actually, I'm talking about the person, not about me. Every day is like Sunday, or you can see there is no difference between Sunday or Monday. Every moment, every day is full of fun and inspiration. So, audience, today we have got Atul Bhatnagar, sir, Atul B Bhatnagar, sir, as the guest for this heart-to-heart conversation. And he is one of those few people who actually, the moment I sent a message to him over LinkedIn, thanks to Microsoft, thanks to Satya Nadella once again, because I got in touch with him through LinkedIn. He just sent a message that will tell me when can we have. Actually, he was ready to have the conversation within just a few days time. Actually, I had something else, so I postponed it. But I'm so happy and so humbled to have him as the guest. Audience, I don't have to say more about him, but yes, I'll just share a bit about Atul B Bhatnagar, sir. To make it very simple, he's from IIT Kanpur and I am Calcutta. I think even if I do not say anything else, audience knows the kind of depth sir is going to bring to this conversation. Atul sir journey has been very inspiring because here we are looking at a person's journey when the person begins his career in 1985 with Tata Motors. Then he moves to some of the best banking names. He was in Citibank, in Barclays Bank, he was in HSBC Bank, and he has been there in senior leadership positions in all these reputed names. And then we are talking to somebody who, after having been in some of these best known organizations for more than 2 decades, he becomes the chief operating officer in National Skill Development Corporation. And currently, Atul sir is there in the board of Sarthak Educational Trust, which is doing, I think, some splendid work in the field of making it better, a world, making it better for people who are especially able. And in addition, he is also the director and board member in Sun Moksha, which is a Gurugram-based organization. And now, Sir Atul, sir, I'm going to talk to you now. I'm just wondering, when you started your journey in 1985, and then you were assistant vice president in one of these banking organizations, and then you became chief operating officer in some of these best of names, did you ever feel that there will come a day when you would be doing so much for the society? Because it's a world where mostly people want to continue that journey. The idea is to become, is to keep on being in the corporate hierarchy. So how did this transition happen is something which we shall come to a little later. To begin with, sir, thank you so much for joining as the guest. And when you look back on your journey, which are those initial thoughts which come to your mind? And of course, we are going to talk about diversity and other fields which are very close to your heart because I have gone through the profile. I guess I get a feeling that 1 hour is going to be too short, but certainly we can extend it a bit and then we can put it in 2 videos. And which are those initial thoughts which come to your mind, sir? Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
okay, thanks for finding me out on LinkedIn, first of all, and taking the effort to contact me and invite me for your show. So, and for this kind introduction, thanks a lot. It's very flattering to me. Having said that, I mean, where I am today, and you said from 1985 onwards. I had no idea, absolutely no idea. I wouldn't ever say, "Ki, look, I had planned it all, and this is when at the age of such and such, I will retire, and the age of such and such, I will do such and thing." My my whole life or career in banking or other in organizations was to work for the best and do your best. That was it. I mean, I chose organizations where I got to learn a lot, and they were world-class organizations, best in class, literally. And even between Citibank, HSBC, and in Barclays, there was a difference in the way people culture is there or training programs, etc.
Yeah.
So I was able to absorb all three. And then when I came back to India, I thought this was payback time. And that's when I got an offer from the National Skill Development Corporation. Now, what has happened to me when I look back in my career, there have been opportunities given to me which I had no idea what I was supposed to do. When I joined Citibank, I was put into fraud control. I had no idea what fraud control was all about. The bank was taking a punt on me, so I said, okay, let me also pay it back. Same way when I came to National Skill Development Corporation, they talked about skill development. I said, I know the spelling of skill and development, but I don't know what skill development is all about. But then again, I took a shot at it. So that is what has been my career. So uh, I do hear of management gurus talking about goals and objectives and setting career paths, etc. I somehow feel that I just kind of jumped into the Ganga, and somewhere near Sundarbans, I emerged and said, okay, let me do something more. And and I joined the social sector after that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I could also see that while being in Kenya in one of these top-notch banking organizations, you had been adjudged as the best professional in the field in the entire Africa while working as the chief operating officer in Barclays Africa. And I was just wondering, coming from that background and then getting into the field where you added actually, you have been adding so much value to the skill level of youth of this country, which is a big requirement. It's something which is very inspiring. And also, I could see that you also were adjudged as the male diversity champion at a global level. How does it feel to be adjudged or be rewarded or be recognized as a person who has been championing the cause of diversity? Because this is something which is very interesting for me to hear from you, sir. If you can share something on the field of diversity and
Yeah,
how it is.
I
Yeah.
look, that is when I said, sometimes God gives you those opportunities which you had never dreamt of. And then He also gives you rewards which you again never dreamt of. So I had never thought that I didn't even know the full value of male diversity champion. It was a very simple thing that happened. I was a chief operating officer, and there was a women national network forum within the
Right,
bank.
sir.
They
Right,
would
sir.
come and discuss with me the problems that women are facing and how we can address them in some shape or form. And I would take that up with the management committee and discuss some of those things. As once they came up and said, "Okay, look, Atul, we come to this bank, and after motherhood, they're given some three months leave only at that time.
Yeah.
But then after the third month, when they join back, it's a difficult period for them because they have to go home and feed the baby and come back. And that's a pretty
Mm.
harsh way of really feeding the baby because they have to
Right,
take an
sir.
auto, literally go back in that 1 hour that they get express milk, and then you hope that the baby is awake and can take the milk, etc. They said all that we need is a room, a lactation room
Mm.
where
Mm.
they can express milk and put it in the fridge and take it home with them. And next day they leave the milk with the nanny out there, and next day they'll come and take another fresh lot around. So with the mother not being there, the baby is still being fed with mother's milk. So I found that
Mm.
was a pretty good idea. So it just started off, "Look, can you give us this facility and can you arrange a room for us?" And we did that. So it didn't sound very fancy at that time, but somehow it caught the fancy of the women there, and they nominated me in Kenya for the Women's National Awards, or other international awards, Global Women Network Forum. They got recognized, and there were some 1,500 participants, and I was asked to come to New York, and like an Oscar ceremony, the top three people who were nomination was I mean, it was very flattering, very frankly. But
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea that this would come my way. But and then not only there, I mean, got recognized, and other countries said, okay, why can't we do the same? And
Wow.
even women in the US, they said, "Okay, what you have done is open the eyes of many male managers. Okay, why can't they support women? Because now the women could easily be there in office. They become more productive. They were happy that their baby is being fed with mother's milk, and there was a small video that was created out of it. I got involved with the Women's Network Forum when it was first started in Kenya more than a year back. It's a good, important forum where you can get to know what the requirements of women colleagues are.
There's a need to have a lactation room because in Kenya the maternity leave is only 3 months. So you come back before you've breastfed your child enough.
When this particular initiative came across, it was an instantaneous decision. I didn't have to think twice about it. It's an enabler for new mothers to be able to balance their work and home life.
For me, he's been sensitive enough to provide a place for me to still work, be productive. It shows that he feels with the women.
For us, we really feel cherished and encouraged to know that our managers really take care of us and put our interests in their heart.
I think some other heads of other departments should copy from him.
That's a man who's actually thinking about the welfare of women in the company, and I think that's a really nice thing for him to do for us, and we're very grateful.
It's made me feel really on top of the world how a small change can create such a big wave. We have seen the benefit and seen the workplace morale go up, and we're definitely going to replicate it in a number of places.
What Atul has done is remarkable, and I have no doubt that this will be an example to many of our male colleagues to do similar activities to help the cause of our female colleagues within workplace.
Hello.
Thank you, Atul. I just want to thank you for the baby eagle room. Because of you now I'm able to feed my baby on breast milk, and look at how big it's become. Thank you. God bless you.
So, as I said, this hadn't crossed my mind at all, but it happened.
So I've been in this field of human transformation, so I keep on talking to people as a part of through Zoom, as a part of, I do not call it coaching, it's like conversations. And I personally feel that some people, I think there are some people who get connected with a cause, and you can't explain what exactly made you have that realization. For example, I'm pretty sure in the organization that you're talking about, there must have been hundreds of male leaders and managers, but actually it's only you who actually could connect with the real problem and pain which many people might have been going through. We are talking about mothers who are away from the kids, and kids who are away from mothers. And then you did something which actually set a benchmark. As I can see that in many countries the same practice was actually adapted. It it became a best one of the best practices which many people learned from. And then you also said something towards the beginning of this conversation that it's like, you took a dip in the river at some place and then you came out at some other place. Do you believe in the fact, in the thinking that, people talk about spirituality, people talk about connections, people talk about realizations, people talk about different people being, feeling a connection with different kind of problems which the society has, and there is no dearth of problems. So we are listening to somebody like you who got very deeply connected with the field of diversity, who got very deeply connected with the field of skill building, who got very deeply connected with the field of people who are especially able, and all these three are very important areas. Do you also believe in the philosophy or belief in the thought process that there is some we actually do not decide a destiny. There is some force which keeps on connecting the dots, and while we are busy putting a plan together, there is some other plan which somebody is writing, and ultimately we realize, as Steve Jobs said, that only when we look back we start connecting the dots. And of course we are connecting some of the dots while having this heart-to-heart conversation, while we are only within first 15 minutes of this conversation. Your thoughts on this, or how exactly it happens? I think you have got much deeper an experience.
Yeah, look, I'm also a very spiritual person. I do believe that there is an, a consciousness kind of a field all around us. And we just have to, we are basically role players in a full drama that's going on. And the more that you try and discover, okay, look what your role is, and I don't want to do this and I want to do that. The moment you use more of I, that's when you start getting problems, and that's where your ego starts coming forth. Whereas we should be just going along with it. Everything, I wouldn't say destiny and all, those are not other ways of looking at it. But I would say just flow along, do your best with whatever you get, and be content with what you get. Don't aim for the sky and then fall on your nose. So, but just be, if you're doing good, be thankful to it, and never kind of claim that you did it. I mean, it was being done through you, and you should be thankful that, look, somebody has, that someone can be supreme consciousness, has entrusted you with this particular role. So be thankful to it. Gratitude is your attitude, should be your
No, this is very
mantra.
important. This is very important, and I think very nicely said, sir. Because I see a connection among all that some of the wisest people have said, and it's all an interconnected world. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. said that if you can't fly, at least run. If you can't run, at least walk. If you can't run, at least crawl. But keep on moving, and that's exactly what you said in a different set of words. But exactly both are similar. And I think it's important for the audience to just take a pause here, and maybe you can take a deep, slow, long, and easy breathing, and then just pause and reflect back on on your life and journey. Are we all doing our best in the situation that we are at this very moment? At this very moment, it's 4:46 on Sunday afternoon. At this moment, whatever we can do, are we putting our best? Are we being in the moment? Are we utilizing all our faculties and resources to see that we give it our best shot? I think that's what life is all about, isn't it, sir? And that's what we can see you inspiring the world with some of the work which you're doing. Sir, I also see that you have got quite I think, a very nice book which has got life and a story of some of the veteran IITians. I can see that you have been associated with Pan India IIT Association. Right? Would you like to talk a bit about this book while putting these stories together? Did you see some of these connections with those stories also? Something
No,
on that.
yeah, look, the book's name is A Chapter Out of My Life, and actually it's been written by 19 IIM alumni, and each one of us has written one chapter. So it's actually, the credit goes to Salil Agarwal. He's the one who compiled this book, and this came out during COVID time. I mean, we had all the time free, and we could get all these things together. These are real life stories. I mean, this really happened, and when I was in Dubai, this particular incident happened that my own boss, the CEO of the company, was was sexually harassing one of the girls in the call center. And the call center used to report to me. And this particular complaint came to me. So it's like, we have never been taught how to handle such a complaint when the CEO himself is involved. And that was a very big thing in an Islamic country. I mean, I'm Indian. I wasn't having much say in the matter there. But how do you fight this out, or what do you do? I mean, I could have been very well. The easiest thing for me was to let the girl go. She was actually a temporary staff anyway. So we could have said end of contract, buy, and that's the best way you can save yourself, or fight it out. So that's where I said, okay, it's an organization culture we are setting. If this one goes unnoticed, then many more will happen. And I went through it. Obviously, the results weren't so good in terms of he being a national Emirati and I being, somebody from outside the country. So they forgave the person, they forgave the CEO because he went and said sorry about it. And I left the organization and I went to Barclays in Kenya. So that was the reason I moved to Kenya, my whole family and I. A change of career. But today, having looked back at it, I still feel, even though I lost the good and glamorous life of Dubai, but I have no regrets for it. I feel I did the right thing, and I mean, I was made to do the right thing, so I just did it.
I've also seen that, sir, in corporate world, people talk about a lot of training programs, including how to build confidence, how to build communication, how to build a lot of stuff. But what I've seen is that if people just do the right thing, the confidence, the ability to, keep your head high, to keep your chin up, automatically comes. And actually, I've seen people who actually have been following this path, and they become so confident that actually it becomes a little uncomfortable for top leaders also. So I think this confidence, I think, comes from purity of thoughts and doing the right deeds, which is very important, because I also believe in the fact that if you do something where your conscience is not allowing you for doing that, it also becomes gradually, it starts affecting us. It becomes somewhere, it gets embedded in our thought process. And I think no surprises
Yeah.
that the kind of work which you have been doing, which you are doing today, and I can see absolutely shine on your face, sir, and I can feel that value which I'm pretty sure you're adding to many lives. No surprises, I can see the connection. Great. So this book is written by, I think, people from IIMs. And let's talk a bit about your connection with IIT Alumni Association. Would you like to share
Yeah.
something about this till I share something from my side? Yeah.
Yeah, this is an organization. This is called
Yeah.
Pan IIT Alumni Foundation. It's
Foundation. Yeah.
we have only 30 odd IITians there, but the whole organization is like 600 odd people. What we are doing is we're trying to provide the same quality of education that we got. We consider ourselves more privileged on that front, to people in the blue collar workspace. So we are actually we have signed an MOU, or we've got a joint venture running with the
Yeah.
Jharkhand government, and the government has been very kind for that. And they have given us land building space across every district. And we taken tribal population from Jharkhand. These are males there, and they are taught for the next 3 months or something and each gurukul is run by an ex-army man. He gets them up at 4 in the morning, makes them do yoga, and then makes them salute the Indian flag and sing the national anthem. And then they are taught on various trades, on constructions, logistics, and such like, and they are given a job. In fact, we don't assemble a batch unless there's a organization at the other end who can take those people in. Like, say, Shapuji Palonji is one of our major employers. So their whole year's blue collar mandate of how many masons and how many bar benders and all these are required, we get that, and we plan the outflow of blue collar workers in their space. Now, what it does is, now these children, these kids who are like between 18 to 22, they could have gone into the
Yeah.
Naxalite kind of a,
Yeah. Yeah.
if they don't get jobs. They're getting jobs. The word goes back into the village saying that, okay, look, this is such and such person has reached this level. Some of them have even gone to Dubai and done very well. And the army man, the principal of that Gurukul, becomes their foster father. He takes care of them after that, even after they leave. So he looks at their grievance, consults them at various times. So it just becomes, and all of them come together. We don't say 5 here, 10 there. No, the entire batch moves. So they work in Bonomi. Of course, over a period of time, they find their own careers and they can disperse. But they start from a person who is in the middle of a village in Jharkhand. Imagine, where they have absolutely nothing. They come out and do all this. And some of the children have gone back and built a proper home for their parents. They have dug a well and created water facility for the other villagers. Those small things, which we don't even think about, are very big things for the government to see that the village development is happening, for the skill development of the youth. Now, what we have done is we have taken women in, and we are creating auxiliary nursing and midwifery course that we teach them. Is one year of on the job and 1 year in the theory class.
Right.
So we've got these 6-7 caution colleges we got. And these
Okay.
colleges, again, the government is supporting us. We take a batch of 180. And the only criteria of getting in is, first you have to be meritorious. Second, you have to be poor. Poor means the entire family's income is 25,000 rupees in a year, in 1 year. They come from such backgrounds. And then they walk out from the training program, they get salaries of 15 to 20,000. They work for their 1 year internship. They work in the likes of Apollo, Medanta, and all the famous corporate hospitals.
Mm.
But they have got a willingness to work. That is what really takes them forward. And we've got this. So the women are also getting empowered on that front. So they are in aspirational districts. There's women empowerment happening. There's tribal development happening. So number of other factors fall in place. Now the Pan IIT Association is getting into Madhya Pradesh, UP. We are going in where the Human Development Index is low. We are not going to the likes of Maharashtra and Karnataka, where they're reasonably well off. But we are looking at how to go to Odisha and Assam. And so these are the places we are looking to sign up with the government. And with the government help, we can't do without that. I mean, they provide us the land building space, we provide the expertise and the operations part. And the two together kind of is making a difference, basically.
Absolutely. So any message from your side, any thought which you would like to share with people who are busy in corporates, busy in their job, and many people are not able to get some time out for some of these causes which are very important. There are tens of crores of people who need support, and I think the way you narrated, the way Pan IIT Alumni Foundation is doing its work, I think it's not only about making some contribution of money, it's about actually putting your own time, it's full involvement. And actually, it's targeting the areas where the need is the most, is the maximum. Would you like to share something with the corporate people? How can they, while maybe doing the job, also can contribute more to some of these causes which are so important? Because I think we're talking to somebody who has been very deeply into it here.
Yeah, three things actually. One is, of course, open the doors for more employment of such type. Come to Pan IIT Alumni Association. We can give you, you give us your blue collar mandate, let's say, and we provide a steady stream of people. It's not like 5 and 10s and all. You want some 200, 300 over a period of 1 year, we'll do that. And sign an MOU with us, basically. Second, we also look at days providing us the same building material or same kind of material that they will actually work on the main project side. So they, right from the beginning, they are taught and they are trained on equipment, which is what they will finally go and see in the factories itself. And the third is the monies itself. I mean, CSR money or whichever way. So you're providing employment, you're providing some amount of financial resources, and we are providing you skilled manpower. And when we say skilled manpower, these are not, we are not in there to make money, very frankly. It's a no profit kind of a organization. We want to give them really from our side the same quality of education that we got as IITians. And I'll tell you what, in the ladies saying in Jharkhand, the top 2 ladies who topped the nursing exam are from Pan IIT Alumni Foundation. We call it PARFI, Pan IIT Alumni Reach for India. So they are the topmost. So we can see the results happening, and that kind of gives us great satisfaction.
Pretty sure there must be, sir, a website for Parfi, and there might be some. So I would be happy sharing some of the links so that people can get connected, because I'm pretty sure the kind of work which is happening is phenomenal. It's awesome. Can you talk a bit? Yeah, sir. Sorry, you're saying something.
No. Please carry. I will share that. I'll share.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk a bit about, sir, Sarthak Educational Trust. You have been associated. You have been the board member since March 2019. And if you can share something about the work which this trust is doing, it will certainly help the audience to get connected with you.
Yeah, that's another organization which is doing very good work in people with disabilities side. So we are trying to empower people with disabilities through skill development and employment. We are not, and these are typically between the age group of 18 to 35.
Okay.
And again, I mean, you just asked me what the corporates can do. Corporates can also open the doors for people with disability. And Sarthak not only trains them as per the corporate needs, but we also go into corporates and sensitize those people. Sensitize the culture in an organization, because, you know, there's a lot of pity and sympathy kind of factor that governs our mind. And plus, in the corporate side, they say, who's going to make a special loo for the people with disability, or if they fall, what happens? And there's always a risk, etc. But having said that, I'm now saying, look, work from home is now an established norm. So people can work from home now. So think of job roles where you can strip out the bits. and I wouldn't hesitate to say, look, they can't do all the jobs all the time, but there are certain jobs they can do even better than many other places. Say, for example, Lemon Tree Hotels has got more than 20% of the workforce which is disabled.
Yes.
And they have a culture where any new manager or any person who joins the organization has to learn sign language within 3 months and be proficient at it. They have found, and this is not my thing, they have found for housekeeping staff, if a person with disability can do it 21 rooms, a person with so-called no disability can do only 18. Because these people are very loyal, first of all. You've given them a job, they're thankful to it, and they'll stick by you. They're loyal. They don't run away because somebody's giving them 1,000 rupees extra or something. Second, the productivity is high. They're not into putting WhatsApp and having coffee breaks and corridor talk. They work, That's it. And it is the two together is creating a very big change in the corporate culture. And we got tons of case studies to show how things have changed. Now it's a matter of changing mindsets of corporates. And that's where a professional like you, who's been in HR, who knows HR people, we want this message to go across. Okay, look, why don't you consider a person with disability for a particular job?
It's very important points, audience, because I have been in the field of conversations and coaching for life transformation. Of course, transformation is a word which many people use, but actually I feel very, very deeply connected with this. One of the key aspects of transformation in life and career is mindset. And actually, it's a mindset matter issue, as sir very clearly explained to us that the society has been having a certain mindset about people with special abilities. Believe me, they are not called as Divyangs or people with a special abilities without a reason. Because the way mindset functions, it's a matter of focus. For these people, there is no distraction in terms of taking a this break and that break and a smoking break and this break and just going out and having some kind of thing. Their entire focus is on doing the things which they know is the core area for them. And that's the reason, sir mentioned some data, which, and there is no, so I'm not at all surprised. And so this is one example. I recall while working in one of the Tata organizations among a team of some, say, we had some 18, 19 people in HR team. And out of these 18, 19 people, we had 8 people who were females, women employees. And I still recall them as the most efficient people. No unnecessary breaks and all that. And we were flexible, and still, even if I needed some data at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, just because they knew that they have got the flexibility, they never used to mind. While sending an email, even at 10 o'clock, I knew that it's going to be difficult. They go back from office, they go and cook food, take care of family, and still it used to happen. I never had any problem. They were some of the most talented people. The thing here is that I think in this world, the people who have got the real power, be it diversity, be it special abilities, be it any area, I think that's the power which has started awakening. And thanks to people like you, sir, who are actually doing something which is deep rooted, and we have got to get this mindset very clearly sit and ready.
Can I just elaborate on the mindset? There was one more
Yes,
point I wanted to make. I mean, looking at our own lives, I mean, today I'm already 60, and maybe in 20 years from now, hopefully not earlier than that, I would be, my memory would be fading, my eyesight would be fading, my talking will get a bit difficult, my movement will be restricted. At that time, even then, I would like to be able to hail an Uber and go and watch a movie and go to the seat that I want, climbing up the stairs, etc. What I do now, correct? But there will be a slowdown. There will be a slowdown at that time. At that time, and then of course, if I look back and say, no, I used to do this very fast and I could do this. But at that time, if I don't find a rail to go up, a ramp to go up, I will start feeling disabled myself. So aging is going to lead to some kind of disability, even for the most so-called normal people. So if you think that you have to make an infrastructure only for the people for disabled, no, you have to make an infrastructure for yourself to start now. Maybe in the time that you are getting aged, you will be able to
you are going to be especially able. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd be independent. I mean, simple things like suppose you're in a wheelchair and you have to go to the toilet. Can the wheelchair go through the door itself in your own house? At least if you've got the option of designing your house, then make that door a little bigger. If you want to even charge your mobile phone, do you have to bend down so much to put in the charger there? Or can it be at a convenient place where you don't have to bend and put in? If you want to make Maggie in the kitchen or sitting on a wheelchair, can the plug points be such that you can make your own Maggie? Because you like to be independent. You don't want to at that time say, hello, please help me and all that bit. So at that time, we will feel disabled. And the people who have been doing this all through the life will be specially able. So I think visualize the world of that, change your mindset, and start doing things now. That's my message to
Very
the whole
interesting, sir.
society for that.
Very interestingly explained, sir. Just for a couple of minutes, I'll just change the background. So when I wrote my first book, My Peter Marisburg Movement, the title goes like My Peter Marisburg Movement and how it unraveled the door to 7 laws of super success and happiness. I mean, that was the title which I thought of in 2020. And I recall while talking about the 7 kind of, secrets or whatever you call it, principles or rules. And the first principle is the power of realization. And that was a long chapter, almost 90 pages. And then I could see that it's all connected well. The way you narrated, now people will realize the connection because nothing changes. Nobody changes anything unless they have a sense of realization, they feel a connection, and then they have got some thought process which changing. And then only the acts will start changing. That's how people change. So I think the way you narrated is very important. So probably people can actually get a connection that no, it's not about them, it's about everyone. And having said that, sir, on a different note, my father-in-law is Dr. Nagin Neeraj is a naturopathy doctor. He's in Yogram in Patanjali. He's the director. He has got a team of some 40, 45 people, and he's 72 years. And if you meet him, he's like 50. So he always says that we have got to live a life of 100 years. So that's what our body is designed for. Certainly, sir, we are going to see a lot more of you in some of the good work which you are doing. Amazing. Sir, if you can talk a bit about Sun Moksha, because I can see a difference here. You are the director there, you are a board member. And this is a group which is into IoT, Internet of Things, which is a different topic. So if you can share something about this, is very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Sadmoksha is actually run by my batchmate from IIT Kanpur. 1985, we did a BTech project together, and then we teamed up again after 2016. He went in a different direction, I went into banking, etc. The whole idea there is how can we utilize renewable energy to kickstart the economy of a village?
Right, sir.
I mean, this is what Gandhiji's Gram Swaraj and Abdul Kalamji's Pura, Pura, provision of urban amenities to rural areas. And in order to do that, first thing, of course, I would give the credit to my batchmate. His name is Dr. Ashok Das. He actually said, okay, look, what is it that's needed in a village? And the first thing, the only thing that came to mind was energy. And energy means what? I mean, to get out of bed in the morning, we as a human body requires energy. Yeah. Everything else comes later. You can have water, you can have medicine, you can have some drink, etc. But if you don't have energy, you can't even roll out of bed. Right? Yeah. So the same thing, how do we do in villages? We are harnessing the whatever the village resources. So sun is there everywhere, so solar becomes a major component. But if the village has a lot of livestock, then you look at biogas. If it has a lot of vegetable mass and biomass, things such like. So you create a pot of energy through which you supply to the village. Now, we are providing for economic use. We are not looking at providing 2 fans and 2 fridges to every household and then let them go to sleep. So it's like this, can we provide a cold room? A cold room requires 24/7 energy. And in the cold room, you can preserve the produce that is made by the village. And they can sell it at the right time in the mandi. Because what usually happens, one of farmers' distress points is this: the time then, let's say the tomatoes, you would have seen how they just sprinkled tomatoes and went away because the sell price was less than the cost price. So what the guy can do? So he finds the nearest tree and hangs himself because he's got a lot of loans, etc. But if those tomatoes could be preserved for, let's say, a month, when the mandi price again goes up, and then he sells it, so he pays, like, say, 1x as rent and gets 4x as return. And the money goes back to the farmer directly in this. So our attempt is, how do we get set of villages? And in fact, this happened in Jharkhand. We've got a CM Smart Gram Yojana, where across 15 villages, we create that critical mass of people there. And how do we come up with these economic zones, microeconomic zones, chota chakki. I mean, you harvest the seeds in the villages, bring it to the center point, and you create seed oil.
Wow.
Like Nagpur ka santra is one of my major things. Look, if you want Nagpur ke santre ka juice, then they should be bottled and juiced at the village where it's coming from, not
Yeah.
so many miles away. ITC has bottled them and then mixed them up with a whole lot of stuff and give you some real pulp, so called. And that when you create that juice and you give it back to the farmer, then he gets the maximum returns. Now, when the maximum returns go back to the village, that's when the economy kickstarts. That is
Yeah.
our whole idea. Now, in order to do this, the IoT and the other devices that you've got, we have tried to make technology so simple. And this is not a theory thing that I'm telling you. And maybe I've shared that one video with you. In an island village, I mean, it's the middle of Mahanadi River, they never had electricity till 2019. For the first, because there's water all around and normal grid cannot go across. So creating the village resources, which is, of course, solar was the major one, we created electricity for them. Now they're thinking of farming. They're thinking of prawn farming. They want to can the freshwater fish and make them and freeze them and go across and sell them. All of that is going to increase the so-called the wealth of the village.
Wow.
And then a lot more. They say your e-learning classes can happen, your hospitalization centers can come up, your ATM can also come up, a whole lot of other things. It becomes an eco-tourist lodge. It's a very, I mean, I've been there myself. It's a why do you have to go to Switzerland? You can see the beauty of India, and that river is so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
So it's a matter of things together. And that is what we are trying to do, solve the, let's say, farmers' problem, and make sure that the money goes back to the village and give them empowerment. We are not there to say, no, now you do this and that. We employ the village youth, who some of them are 8th pass, and they're giving them this. Everybody now knows the use of a mobile phone. They can themselves make out, look, which solar panel not working, what is happening today. And slowly they become the master of that technology. There's no, it's not a magical IoT kind of thing. It's very simple to handle. So the whole idea is take the latest technology, make it so simple that the people can use it.
So
And
beautiful, so beautiful. So suppose some more people want to get connected. I recall, because you have been talking about Jharkhand. So I was born in Jharkhand. I came from Tata Steel background, Pune. I'm currently in Pune over last close to 20 years. But every time we talk about Jharkhand, I'm thinking about my childhood days. I studied in one of the engineering colleges there in Mesra, Ranchi. So very, very nice to hear. And actually, you are directing your efforts in the area where there is a great need. So if suppose some of the audience, some people want to get connected with some of these organizations like Sun Moksha or say Sarthak for Educational Trust, what is the way for them to do so? Or I can certainly give some website and all that, which must be there, and they can write anything.
Yeah, sarthakindia.org is the website for Sarthak. Okay. Sarthak we have established one global resource center here in Gurgaon. Okay. Where the Haryana government gave us a piece of land, and Sector 45, it recently got inaugurated just about 2 months back by the Vice President of India, Mr. Dhankar. He had come across, and he was also very impressed. The whole idea of this Global Resource Center is for anything referring to disability, please come and join. Please come and refer your query here. Second, I mean, being a slightly technology guy, I won't say technically savvy, but at least we have created an app called Cap Sarthi. It was funded by Capgemini. So any person, any person with a disability anywhere in India can enroll through that app, and we will take him or her from 0 to 60. Of course, beyond, but we just started with this. So any hand-holding. And in that app, it's not only about what rights they have, what kind of schemes are applicable in the area that they are in, what kind of training opportunities, what jobs are there, even matrimonial alliances. Now, for a person with disability, where do you get to find a life partner? Why not? Yeah. Why can't they have a life? So that becomes, that's an app for them. Then we've created another learning management system called Gyan Sarthi. The Gyan Sarthi is also same thing. Look, they can, sitting where they are, All that you need is a laptop or a mobile, and you can do self-development on that. Of course, there will be a Sarthak team at the other end to help you with various things. The whole idea again is ki, look, because if you were to look at it, there are 8 to 10 crore people with disability across 21 disabilities. First, there were only 7 disabilities defined in 2016 by Government of India. At that time, there was a census done in 2012, which said 2.68 crore people having a disability. But now they expanded the definition of disability from 7 to 21. In that expanded definition, things like dwarfism, acid survivors, and multiple sclerosis, and some of the new ones have come in. We haven't yet been able to tackle the entire stuff anyway. But what has happened due to that is, and the world WHO has come up with this, that 15% of the world's population is disabled. So nearly 1 billion people. So it's a very large mass of people. So these people, I mean, say somebody can be associated. Of course, we are always short on finances. So that is first thing. I mean, instead of, donations to temples, and they create one dharmshala, and they create a bench in dharmshala, put one plaque saying in memory of my nana, nani, nana, dada, dadi. Try and put that money and say, look, can I get a disabled person, find him a job? Can I finance his education? So these are very useful and ways of really creating somebody else's, a change in somebody else's life. And Sarthak being, I mean, I've been associated, this is my commitment that we will make good use of that money to make somebody else's life better.
Beautiful, sir.
That's the whole
Beautiful.
idea.
No, this is absolutely awesome, amazing. I'm certainly going to share some of these websites with people. I also see, sir, and I think, sir, before you proceed, I want to talk about your talk show, which you used to host during 2002, during the days of pandemic. Certainly, we shall have a brief interaction around. Before that, sir, I think our interaction will not be completed unless we talk a bit about your journey with NS National Skill Development Corporation. Would you like to say a bit about your journey and how we all, I think, we can spend some time every week, maybe over the weekend, and do something to make it bigger and better? Something about NS, your journey with your National Skill Development Corporation.
Yeah, what attracted me most from NSCC was that NSCC was trying to create an ecosystem where it's giving an alternate means for career development through skills. Now, in India, unfortunately, I mean, it's a case that you have to be very cognizant of, that out of every 100 kids that are enrolled in primary, only 30 reach college level, really. So 70%, 70 people kind of fall off somewhere on the way. What is the skill? What is the career prospect for those 70 odd? That's where the skill development change in mind. Again, this comes on to a mindset itself. And parents are always like saying, "Beta, graduate ho ja, shaadi ho jayegi, ye job mil jayega." That's a typical mantra that they do, and they push people into the education force. Now, even the 30 who reach the college, imagine how many good colleges are there. How many people can get into the Delhi universities and Bombay universities and the Calcutta universities or IIT, IIMs or whatever. So they then end up doing something in correspondence just to get one degree. And so in order to take that workload off the thing, can we provide them skills which the industry needs? We are not talking of only behavioral and leadership and communication. No, we don't want to make everybody a leader. We want them to have some vocational training which the industry wants. So what we did was, we created a skill council for each particular sector. So sector, I mean, textile, pharma, construction, then banking and financial services, all these. And each sector would decide its own cost by the experts in that sector. How many, let's say in the healthcare sector, how many ward boys do we need? How many nursing assistants? How many OT technicians? How much of dentists? How much of pharmacies? How much of phlebotomists? I'm not not an expert, but Dr. Naresh Trehan, who's a very well-known cardiologist, he's the chairman. He has assembled that people, and so each one of these sector skill council was supposed to take the role of NSDC in their own sector. So they will provide the funds, they'll provide the know-how, they'll get centers of excellence, they'll try and create this advocacy for people with skill development. So that was the whole ball game. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't followed the course it was supposed to, and that's where maybe I left earlier. I would say more than that on front. I'm pretty, disappointed on that front. But then when IIT was doing it, we want more such organizations to drop in who are doing the create a difference, not to make money. So this and if we can meet, because the clip that the corporate has is 70% of 75% of the graduates are not ready with employable skills. So people are coming out, but they don't have. When I say employable skill, very simple. You may have learned Java, you may have learned whatever but can you maintain a website? Can you make a mobile app? That is a skill. In order to make a mobile app, you don't need a 2 years diploma to do that. It's just 3 months of understanding and you can get that. So we are looking at how to do short-term courses. And the biggest metric I would show you, I'd let you know, is South Korea. I mean, the 1980s, you remember a single product from South Korea. You don't have any that comes to mind. There'll be one in your pocket or in your home because of the LGs and the Hyundais and the Samsungs and wherever. How did that country suddenly leapfrog into this situation? 95% of the people in South Korea are certified skilled. The word is certified by a set of bodies as per standards, which are world standards actually. And that's why they're making a difference. In India, that percentage is less than 5. And when I say South Korea people are 95% certified, they at that time, you don't say how many PhDs, how many MBAs, how many BTechs, how much of graduates. Nobody talks about that. If they have a degree, fine. If not, but they are very good. Now, in Japan, that percentage is around 76. In Germany, it's 82. In US, it's 68. But India is less than 5. So it's not that India doesn't have carpenters and let's say electricians, etc. But are they certified? You still feel at a loss if suppose your heritage sofa in your drawing room, supposedly it was your wife's favorite. Suppose there's a leg that has come apart and you have to get it fixed. You're very worried. Okay, look, if I don't get the right guy, I had it. So where do you go to get a certified carpenter? So best thing is you ring up the security guard or some people. Okay, look, is there somebody you know? They will say. Now, when the new guy comes in, there's a 50% chance he might do a good job, and they.
No, this is very powerful, sir. I think a person like you who has been from IIT and IIM talking about the need to emphasize on a skill itself says a lot. And actually, I have personally been in
And
this
if he
field.
comes in and says, I can.
Sorry, sir.
No, so the whole idea is how do we create this ecosystem?
Yes.
We haven't just succeeded, but I think we haven't given up also.
And no, that's important. The way you said is very, very important. Actually, sir, in India, I think instead of only talking about the country becoming the third and whatever fourth, best economy in the world, I think it's an eye-opening data which you have, statistics which you have shared. We also need to keep some of other KPIs in mind. That's very important because just like in corporates where, we talk about balance of scorecard, I think government of India, with due respect to people, they are very inspiring people that we're talking about. They also need to keep a proper balance of scorecard where to make the country the third best or largest economy. We also need to have some other KPIs which are equally important, and I think you have just given one very important KPI because skill is very important. And I think corporates can do a lot more than they are doing. I'm pretty sure that corporates, since they are coming from different backgrounds, there are manufacturing based companies, there are IT based companies, there are mobile telephony technology based companies. I'm pretty sure that since they have got factories where the skill can actually be nourished and built and people can get confidence. I think if every corporate, maybe 80 or 90 majority of corporates start putting some efforts, if they also start including this as a part of their KPI, their balance of scorecard process, I'm sure we shall also start seeing this percentage going up drastically from 5 to 10 to 15. And of course, you can get closer to some of these countries that we are talking about. Thank you so much, sir.
Very true. Very true.
So, no, thank you so much, sir.
Very
Thanks
true.
for sharing. This is very important, very insightful. I'm surely going to create a small clips and I'll share so that it reaches as many people as possible. Sir, another thing, let's talk a bit about your initiative which you took in the days of pandemic, HR talk at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, we want to talk a bit about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every Friday, and I'm associated with a whole lot of HR people anyway because
So
so
happy
there's
that today we have got
yeah.
connected. Yeah, sir. Please, please. Yeah.
So this is not my brainchild. This is actually the one Mr. Indranil Banerjee. He's sitting in Calcutta. So it was his brainchild. Okay, look, how do we get people thinking of other? I mean, everybody was nervous. Everybody is having all kinds of gaudy thoughts with COVID.
Yeah.
We said, let's do something more constructive. So every Friday at 8 o'clock, we used to invite a person on ABCDE. ABCD is A for academia, B business, C for consulting, D for I've forgotten now, and E for entrepreneurship. Yeah. So
Right,
these are
right.
any one of these people who could come and give share his or her thoughts on this. And I was the host for that. So, I mean, I was doing a similar job that you are doing today. So, get
That's very
people in to talk
interesting.
about
Very
this. Yeah.
Academia, I can see. I'm like looking at your website. Say Academia, business consulting, development, entrepreneurship. I think
Yes.
it does not leave any field aside. I'm pretty sure you must have had. Would you like to share some of these one or two interesting conversations which you recall from some of this series? Because I think just to share, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I happened to meet, of course, on this only front, a person from Nagaland.
Okay.
He's the Mahatma Gandhi of Nagaland. I mean, he's the person who brought together the Naga tribes who are fighting each other, and you'll see that on my on. I've also got a kind of YouTube channel on HR at 8 p.m. and
Very nice.
his talk is there. And he talked about how things happened there. It was just our hackles were all raised. He was just talking and we were just listening. So that happened. Then there was another one who's a batchmate senior to mine, one guy called Shrikant Shastri. And it's kudos to the IIT Kanpur people. They created a ventilator for in 82 days. And these are engineers creating a ventilator for medical people. And how a team got together. In 82 days, they were able to fly in some stuff from Singapore because it was not available in India. And we were needing ventilators big time because so many people were on getting breathless in various places. So that was another talk which would be worth looking at. I'll send you some of those
Sure.
links. But
No, this
it was
is
just again to get people occupied, get thinking. Look, there are a lot more things we can look at rather than just worry about COVID and what will happen next.
Yeah. No, this is one of the. I think this is another great example of something which we discussed towards the beginning of this conversation. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't, whatever, so it's aligned to that.
Yeah.
So in the days of pandemic, we can't go out, but still we can make the best usage of technology by talking to people and bringing some other wisdom to inspire people, so
Right.
that at least people think in the right direction. Because in those times, people all that people used to do was to watch television, and I think it must have added a lot of value. Sir, another thing, before we close the conversation, just wanted to check with you, because of course we have spoken on some very important topics, but we are also listening to somebody who has been in corporates for close to 2 decades. People talk a lot about, now let's change the gear for a moment because I can't resist the temptation of hearing from you, sir. People talk a lot about leadership, corporate. Would you like to talk a bit about, share your thoughts on what exactly leadership has been? Because I'm pretty sure you have led some of the most diverse teams. So over to you, sir. Something on corporate leadership, yeah.
Look, corporate leadership is not only about profits and finances. I think it's about people first. Because as an operations manager or the chief operating officer, I never used to say, I run processes. I said, no, I run people who run processes. And if you can keep the people, let's say, happy, focused, talented itself. I mean, and training is one thing that is very essential in corporate. They might get excited by an increment here or two, a promotion, etc. But that financial gain is very soon lost. But if you get them trained in something different and you spark their mind off to do different things, they become, let's say, loyal to your organization. And in the current generation that's coming up, that is going to be the next challenge. That how do you keep them motivated? Because they are motivated, but I believe they are looking at social causes. Now, I'll give you another example of in Barclays in Kenya. We had a very interesting thing called MAD Day, MADD, is Make a Difference Day. One day in an entire year, it used to be usually a Saturday. The entire Barclays company used to fan out into various projects they would have planned for the year before. And they would go and do that social project with hands and feet and not direct people. I've gone and painted an orphanage house because there was fire inside, and so we took a carpenter, he created the door, and then we painted it. And we actually gave a detergent machine to women who had AIDS, and each one of those women had attempted suicide, but when they didn't succeed, they said, let us do something more important. And then we supplied them this detergent thing, and they were able to provide like the Nirma kind of a thing, how Nirma started. They did that. What I'm trying to say here is that social cause is importantly woven into the Indian fabric. And even though we've got CSR, but I feel CSR is being misused. If CSR used to be used properly, it can be a great tool for incentivizing the employees within the organization. Let them do it. Let them get their hands dirty, because they should feel proud. Our organization, yeah, they made money, Sensex went up, and all that things happened. That's fine. But look, we did this. We made a change. Today, I'm very proudly saying that I was part of this kind of deal in Kenya. I think something like that should start in India. We need it, and there's so many pockets of work that you can do. I'm associated with the Art of Living projects and social projects, and we've got projects running all over India, like river rejuvenation, women empowerment, skill development, health improvement in various various places, education. In your own village, even for choosing a village, think about what your nani and dadi and whichever village they were coming from, and try and do with their memory in mind, do some change, make a change there.
Wow.
And that is what is, if the organization can support this, great. I mean, that becomes
Absolutely.
a project.
Towards the beginning of this conversation, I said that it's going to be a very humbling experience for me, sir. And actually, I'm feeling even more humbled as you narrated the story, the great work which is being done by Dr. Ashok Das, Mr. Jitendra Agarwal, and the people, the kind of work which they are doing is simply, I think it's very inspiring. And of course, the work which you are doing, sir, is super inspiring. Sir, let me change my background, because on a lighter note a bit, would you like to share something about this picture? Cherry picker, something which I came to know while going through some of your websites. Would you like to talk a bit about what is? Of course, I'll put the entire picture while editing the video. People can't see it's getting cut. Would you like to say something about what time this picture was taken and what is that?
Well, you started off as a GET also. I started as a GET in Telco Pune.
Yeah.
And I was there 85 to 87. So, okay, and this is a 2-year training program, and three months used to be put into shop floor and manufacturing and various other places. So we were doing this with a set of 50 odd people had been recruited. So we happened to be on the production shop floor, and the production DGM generally called us one day and he said, "What are you guys doing?" We were 5 of us. We started making up. We actually doing nothing, but I mean, what can you do in 3 months in a particular place? We were just observing. We weren't doing. We were observing. So he said, "Okay, take them off. You make a cherry picker for us." And all of us, we just didn't know, the floor slipped under us. He said, "What does cherry picker mean?" He gave us a very simple statement. He says, a cherry tree is so fragile that you put a ladder against it, it bends and can break. In order to take the cherry fruit from the tree, you have to have both your hands and you're up in the air and you can pluck that thing and put it up. Now, this cherry picker in 85, you would not have noticed anywhere in India. I mean, because it was not there. It was just now you can see a whole lot of them changing street lights and all that. But and he said, I want that kind of a thing to come into the shop floor literally weave its way within machines, which is very narrow,
Yeah.
and be able to change. When you maintain a machine, sometimes you have to hang on from the top, and people used to come really like a trapeze act and do
Yeah.
open the top and change the valve and do something. And so he says, my workers, our lives are endangered. They can get hurt. I want to solve that problem. So that is a problem given to us. How do I make a mobile platform, mobile as in mobility wise, which can go within the workspaces in a production shop floor and be able to make maintenance things out there. So those five of
Beautiful.
us are hung up in that thing, in that basket. But that I think was the first creativity, let's say, task given to me. And luckily, I got something in my mind, and we put it down on paper. And what was very good in this, I mean, I thought we'd lose my job. Very frankly, in 7 days, I want a plan. I want some kind of design. So 7 days, he produced one design. He said we gave him two options. He chose this one, and he said, "Oh, they said, okay, very fine. Our job's safe now." He said, "No, no, now go and make it." Now, hold on, this is getting too murky now. Anyway, we went, and each one of us. I mean, there were five GTs. We never knew each other. We didn't even know what are the strengths of one. We were just five people put together. I mean, that's why I'm saying I don't know whether this providence works this way or, or we were very good at it. But I would say it's just, we got together. Somebody took the charge of hydraulics, somebody took the charge of production. And he said, all company resources are yours. There's nothing called you put a budget and all that. Just do it. We did it.
Wow.
At the end of 6 months, and we thought he is really, and he was a pretty tough taskmaster. He was a pretty angry man also. But he, in those 6 months, we didn't even see him around the place. At the end of 6 months, when this came in, he was the most happy person. And he told us, look, you guys think that I'm the bad guy here. Now, that's what the quality of a leader is. He says, I was taking such a big risk on you guys. If this had failed, you guys would have had a black mark for the rest of your lives. Now, I had actually moles around here. I mean, there were people who were looking, monitoring. They would say, if these guys are not going to fail, I will pull them off the project, giving some particular pretext. Look, okay, you guys had enough. You can do back some other work, so that you don't know that you were really going in the wrong direction. Now that you have succeeded, he says, for 6 months, I have not slept because I was testing you, but making you into better human beings. So I am so much in love with this cherry picker. My wife says that's your first love. So it is
Beautiful,
definitely.
sir. I can also see a connection here that starting from your GET days, when this very good leader and one of the, I think, toughest and still one of the best leaders that you might have worked with chose you for doing something very creative, something very meaningful. I think the people have been changing. We call it destiny, we call it spirituality, we call it what, higher force. There is a force which has kept on choosing you for doing something which is very meaningful for the society, for the world. I can see the connection here. And I'm so happy to have you as a guest, sir. It's a privilege for me. Sir, if we write a book on your life and journey, that's a significant question which I ask everyone. What could be the title of the book before you close the conversation? It's very inspiring. Yes.
Flow with the tide. I would just say.
So,
Flow
sorry,
with
sir,
the
once
tide.
again. Wow.
Flow with the tide.
Awesome. So, audience, I think it's time for us to take a pause and think about the title which Atul sir has suggested, Flow with the Tide. That's the thing. And as he suggested towards the beginning of this conversation, you never know, at times you are going to take a dip somewhere and then you're going to come up at some other place. Do not worry too much. Flow with the tide. That's the point here. Thank you so much, sir, for this very inspiring conversation. As I said in the beginning, it's going to be a very humbling experience. And of course, as you narrated, the super inspiring work done by, very, very highly inspiring work being done by some people from IITs, from IIMs, from different parts of the world, from different segments. I'm feeling even more humbled. Thank you so much, sir, for making this Sunday afternoon, evening so inspiring for me. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you.
And thanks for spending your time and doing all the background work. I'm very, very, happy to see that it's not just about you talking, but you have created this collage at the back of you, and you've done some delving into my career part of it. Thank you very much. It
Thank you,
means a
sir.
lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.